No countdown this time? Says we're live. All right. Let's see if there's anybody here. I doubt it. No. Mike is muted. What? Woman around here. Says we're live. Now it says I'm still trying to. I'm having a hard time still with StreamYard, but I think we're good. All right. I don't think anybody's here. So, huh? All right. All right. Already 1 minute. Already 1 minute into this deal. Whatever. All right. So, hey everybody, welcome to the Blind Spot. Hanging out with Joe. This message is going to be a little longer than normal because I have some explaining to do. Huh? Uh, yeah, I don't know how I've never really had an experience like this where I wake up in the morning and something seems different and I can't put my finger on it. Like what's going on here? Like it, not like a deja vu, but something like I already knew. So, and I don't know. I already knew this was going to happen, but uh, I didn't understand it. And then now okay. So for instance, I guess I can kind of give a similar scenario. Like when you were a little kid and your parents tell you, you know, you, you're going to lose, your teeth someday, and then you get your adult teeth, and you're a little kid. You're like, yeah, whatever, you know. And then the first time your tooth falls out, you're like, holy shit, they weren't lying to me. I thought they were just telling me that shit so I'd brush my teeth every day, you know. And then you lose a tooth and you're kind of like, what the hell? My body parts are falling off, you know. So it's scary. And then you know, you know, your parents tell you, well, put the tooth under the pillow, and the little fairy tale tooth fairy person puts $1 under it or whatever. And then you're like, whatever, there's no such thing as that, you know. And then, in the morning, your tooth's gone and you got a crisp dollar bill, hopefully, or not a piece of paper that says I owe you on it. That happened to me before. Um, but then you're like, oh shit, they were real. So I'm like, why can't all my teeth fall out at the same time? So I just get like, $20. Then I can get a bunch of candy. But and then time goes on and your tooth grows back. Then another one falls out and it just keeps going on. But so something similar to that happened to me this morning. It said nothing fall, nothing fell off, but I just felt different and weird way, And I'm used to waking up in the morning and I have my little routine. I go out, to if I have to go, go to the bathroom or whatever, and go get it. I go to the kitchen and I get me a soda pop and take the dog out now because I have a dog now, so that's kind of cool. And then make sure the house is good and I might grab something to eat, and then I come back to my room and turn on some music, or I don't turn the news on anymore because I can't stand that anymore. But I'll listen to some music, or I'll listen to some commentary or something funny to get me in a good mood, in the morning. It just depends on how I slept. If I didn't sleep very good, then I'll lay back down after I eat for an hour or so, see if I can get a quick nap, some energy, and then I'll check my emails and I'll get to work. That's what I do. So this morning I woke up and yeah, I just felt different. Not not really physically different, but something in me different, and not like a sickness or that, but like a like a level up kind of like a like I ate the magic mushroom and I grew a double size, inside. Thought that was weird, and I'm like, what's wrong with me? And it kind of felt even like a little euphoric. Um, and I didn't have any like really, uh, uh, dreams that were, in the adult section of the video store, but it was just a peaceful rest, and then maybe some kind of inspiration happened. I don't remember, but I don't normally remember my dreams. So I'm just like, what's different? What is different? And the feeling you get when you got like 1,000 piece puzzle, and you know you're almost able to kind of see the picture, but not really. And then all of a sudden, like the last three pieces of the puzzle are left on the table, and you're like, oh, this is going to be great. And then you finally get that last piece of the puzzle in place, and you feel like a sense of you know accomplishment, and completedness. Yeah, I think that's a word. You feel like you've accomplished and you've achieved something. You're like, and you look at it and you're proud of yourself, and then you call your friends and your family over, like, hey, come check out this thing I did. It only took me like 10 years to finish it, but yeah, I finally got it. And then people are looking at you like you're stupid, and like, dude, you got way too much time on your hands. But you're proud of yourself. It doesn't matter what the hell anybody else thinks, but you want to share it. So this is what I'm going through. Okay, so say that like the last 10 years, um, since I had my near-death experience, I've been questioning, you know, um, spirituality, you know, religion, um, sanity, you know, what the hell, I had so many unanswered questions of what I experienced, and so I thought maybe if I looked for people, you know, who had had similar experiences, I would maybe be able to understand what I went through, because I could tell people what I experienced and that kind of thing, but it doesn't make sense to people who haven't experienced it. So I thought maybe I could, go listen to other people's stories about what they, and it would kind of help me understand it a little bit better. But from what I've been able to understand, people don't do the same. I mean, there's similarities from things, but they're different. You know, um, because those people don't know what I know, and I don't know what those people know. So, but you know the doorway, to the beginning of that experience is pretty much similar, I guess. But the outcome during and afterwards are not the same, except for now the people who have that experience are they're filled with a buttload more questions, and but now they're transferred from one way of thinking, which is I wonder if it's true. I believe something that I can't see, and I believe something I don't know, but I don't know why. I feel it in my heart. This is the truth, and then when you have an experience, hopefully not, you don't. Hopefully, you know, if you do, you're okay, and it just it sets you off on an adventure kind of deal, and uh, and I don't know, you feel more blossomed, I guess, because now it's real instead of guessing or hoping, and what I was selfish with it, I guess, because I didn't want to talk about it because I didn't want to scare people, and I didn't want to spoil it. I thought I thought my experience, you know, was like a gift that you put under the Christmas tree, and if if I was able to pull it out and open it and show everybody, then it would ruin Christmas for that person. That's what I started to meditate and get into that kind of a spiritual place, right? And because I still had unanswered questions, and I thought that if I did the meditation, um, maybe I would have an experience where I could understand it better, and um, I was I did have an experience. Um, I think it was 2020. I had an experience. There was a National Day of Prayer on a YouTube channel that I used to follow. Um, and yeah, I I meditated during and I went someplace that was way past my imagination, and I wasn't dead, but it was real, wherever it was. And I was with a bunch of people. They didn't have like bodies, like they were just light, like stars, like that kind of thing. And I felt such uh, a rush, like extreme emotions, like and um, I snapped out of it because it was like a overload kind of thing. And I turned my phone. I woke up and I turned my phone off, and I went out into my living room, and there was three people, that were staying with me during the Corona crap, and I gave them all hugs and told them I loved them, and then I went outside in the front yard and sat there for a minute, and I started petting the grass, and I told the grass that I was sorry. I don't know what, but it was just such an emotional experience, and then I was like, well, that's what meditation is all about, is connecting to something you don't understand, right? And getting a confirmation from it. So it blew my mind. And but now when I meditate, and I don't get the same euphoric feeling. I don't get an extremely extreme overload, because I've learned, that I don't need that kind of feeling anymore, or maybe the other side where I'm at doesn't need to give me that much because I don't need proof anymore. And so here's where I'm going. So that led me, um, down the rabbit hole, kind of understanding, you know, spirituality, kind of solo and then in a group, and then I started to, research religions and that kind of thing, and Jesus and Muhammad and Buddha and Krishna, and I'm just like, what? Why are these things so similar? What? And so there goes a rabbit hole, and then all this government politician, election rabbit holes, and then just one thing after another. Then I uh, I was wondering, if like my zodiac, like I'm a Gemini, I wonder what this really means, because if spirituality back in the day was pretty much based on stars and the moon and the sun and the all that. And then, well, what if my spirituality, my own personal spirit, I have something to do with my birth date and whatever, my zodiac crap. So I started to go down that rabbit hole, and then that rabbit hole led me into another rabbit hole, and another rabbit hole, and that one led me down another rabbit hole where into numerology, and into um more spirituality, and then into what am I? Why, and some things were very uh, scary because they made sense. I especially the numerology crap, because my numerology, uh, my name in numerology adds up to a three, which they say is your destiny number. Okay, whatever. And then my birthday adds up to a seven. And I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, 37. Why is that number so familiar? And then I remember my house address is a 37. 37 is my address. I'm like, what the hell? That's what. And then now all of a sudden, I'm remembering from even a early childhood, 37 was always on. My first baseball number was 37. Oh man, it's just like, wow, all these things. And so it's blowing my mind. Everywhere I looked, there was something uh, synchronous, of my numbers to where I have been, and whatever. It's crazy. So I started doing my family's numerology. That's how crazy it was to see what was the most, uh, because my birth date number, right, is a seven. If you add up all my numbers of my birthday, my my mom's is, if you add up all her numbers, is an eight, and my dad, if you add up all his numbers, was an eight, right? So eight and eight, 16. Six plus one is seven. So my mom plus my dad equals me. That was the weirdest one. That's what got me hooked. All right, and on and on. And then I started after numerology. I had to quit the numerology because it was hurting my brain. Everything started to seem like a number, and then um, more meditation and spiritual stuff, and I started getting into what exactly is a chakra, and because I remember meditating one time, and I was listening to someone on a guided meditation, and they were telling me to open up this chakra, your heart chakra, and the grounding and all the, you know your pineal gland, and I was like, wow, chakra, okay, and uh, so there was a rabbit hole, right? Another rabbit hole, and I had an issue last year, um, where I had a lot of anxiety and stress, and I yeah, the incident that took my sight away from me, I get lightheaded sometimes, especially when the barometric pressure gets crazy, right? So um, springtime and the fall, I get lightheaded and that kind of thing once in a while. Not every day, but just sometimes, especially when I get anxiety and stress, because my blood pressure gets crazy too. So blood pressure plus barometric pressure equals uh, unbalanced brain pressure. And so I had an episode where they had actually called the ambulance, and when I finally came to, I told the paramedics that I didn't want to go to the hospital. I was fine, and the paramedics said, "Well, are you sure? Because you have the symptoms like you had a stroke." And so when I had my doctor's appointment at the VA, they did a EEG, and that's where they stick these sticky things, probes to your head, and they tell you lay there for like 30 minutes, and then they measure your brain activity, and that kind of thing. See if there's any brain damage and that kind of thing. And I still haven't got the results back from there, but when I was talking to the technician, I said, hey, do you mind if I put on some meditation music to help me relax? And she's like, well, why? Why would you need to relax? And I say, well, it helps me to meditate, and then you'll be able to get a good record of my pineal gland. And she's like, oh, what's that? I'm like, really? You don't know what a pineal gland is? That's what kind of disturbed me. Like, how are you a brain technician? She wasn't a doctor. She was just a technician. And she didn't know what a pineal gland is. Okay. That's what feeds your spinal fluid. That's what feeds your spine with the oil that your cerebral oil and that. You don't know what that is? Your sacred oil? She's like, no, I don't know. Like, you need to watch a lot. You need to go on to YouTube and check it out. There's all kinds of doctors and stuff. And I actually went on to Google and Googled a lot of stuff just to get an understanding to educate myself. Right? And rabbit hole, damn rabbit hole. Okay. So this morning, all this feeling I had, and it all kind of came together in a puzzle. So all the rabbit holes I've been looking in finally made sense. They're all connected. Whether it's the zodiac, the the the, the numerology, the meditation, my NDE, who I am as a person, all this stuff just kind of fit in a puzzle, and I finally got to see what the picture is. And I look and I hear on the esoteric stuff, people explain, this shift. Well, our planet shifts every day because we're not in the same, science-wise, we're not always in the same location, as we were yesterday in the galaxy or the solar system. That. So there's so much movement. Like a way I'd be able to explain it would be like in a clock. You got all these gears moving around. That's kind of how everything works in the universe, from what I am able to understand. And I don't know because I'm not anybody else from outside of our planet, so I wouldn't know, uh, how everything really works. But that's how I put it together in my mind, that everything's kind of like a gear in a clock. And without one piece, you know, the clock wouldn't work correctly. That's And I believe that's how God works. He put everything in place to make it work, even as far as the cells in our bodies. And do I believe I am my body? No, I believe it's a vehicle for my spirit, which is connected to God, which is connected to you. We're all connected to the same. We're all the fruit from the same plant. Just because we fall off the plant and can't get back connected to it, um, doesn't mean that we're not still the same fruit. An orange is an orange. It's just not the same orange. An apple is an apple. It's just not the same apple. You know. So we're all the same. Now we don't believe the same. Some oranges believe they're apples, and some apples believe they're peanuts. But that's where I get down to a different rabbit hole where, uh, since the beginning of time that we know of, as far back as the Egyptians and before, um, they believed in a religion, right? And religions are based on the zodiac, okay, and the sun and the moon, right, and the human body, the the sacral, the sacred spine and the chakras, that kind of thing. So it's the same, and the messages and the religious books explain those things because that's where they came from, and the the deities and that thing are the sun, and they have the same. They might have different names, but they're the same story. So and so's son, God's, son of God, right? Horus in the Egyptian was, lived and had 12, these disciples or 12, brothers or whatever, and then he died on the third day. He was resurrected, and then he ascended, right? And it goes on and on. It goes, the Krishna, died, was resurrected on the third day and ascended, and Muhammad and, uh, you know, Joseph was uh, supposedly the reincarnation. But Jesus was the reincarnation of Joseph. He, made water out of wine and, healed the sick and brought back the dead and died and was resurrected on the third day and then ascended. And then Jesus, did the same thing. And instead of having 12 brothers, Jesus had 12 disciples. And he made turn water into wine and that kind of thing. And he died, was crucified, and on the third day was resurrected, and then he ascended. So it's the same thing. And when you get into the chakras, right? There's the sacred oil they call the Christ oil, right? And I'm like, well, what's the significance? Because Horus and the Krishna and Muhammad and Joseph and Jesus, they all died, around the age of 33. And in numerology, 33 is the highest number, right? It's the most enlightened number, right? Supposedly. So, so why would they all die around? So I'm like, what's the significance of the 33, the age, in all of these prophets slash deities, whatever? Um, what's the significance? Well, you have 33 vertebrae in your spine, and on uh, the 33rd vertebrae, very top, feeds the spinal fluid, the Christ oil, back into your cerebral cortex, right? And uh, and then it goes into your pineal gland, and your pineal gland also uh, sends more fluid out, and it goes down your spine, blah blah blah, and then it goes to your sacral chakra, which is in between your hip bones, whatever you want to call it. Okay, and then so um, and this way, the spine, the way the fluid moves through your spine somehow uh, replenishes your blood, like in your heart chakra, um, the whatever. So your body cleans itself, and then the day you're born, on your birthday, on your birth month, is when the activity in your brain and your spinal vertebrae and the fluids are the most active for some reason. And it doesn't help that last night was a full moon, right? And okay, so the planets aligning and all that crap. I didn't even know that till this morning when I checked the weather, and it said there last night was a full moon. I'm like, oh really? So maybe that's why I woke up feeling different, but I don't know. It just all these things snapped into place. So then I started thinking, well, okay, so if all these things are correct and it can be scientifically proven, and science, as far as we know, goes back to basically when even Native Americans had to look into the stars and the sun and the moon and the seasons, right? They created these religions to teach children, um, about the seasons. And then they added stories onto them and stories onto them and stories onto them to explain how the body works, how the mind and the spine feed the body, right? And I think that's about all I know for how these things work. There's so much I'm not going to cover on this because I don't want to go even further. If you're curious about what I'm talking about, look it up. YouTube and Google. They're my sources. So I wish I could wrote some stuff down and thought about where I'm going to start and where I'm going to end on this. But I think I'll end with the way I feel right now is I feel like the shift happened. I'm in it, and I'm different, and nothing I say to anyone can prove that I'm different, except for my actions, right? So a spiritual thing has happened to me, and I don't know what to call it other than an enhancement. Somehow, I feel the connection I've been looking for, that I thought I had after my NDE, like I thought I had um, when I first connected during a meditation, like I had uh, when I thought I could uh, talk to my dad who had passed. You know, I kept seeing his face everywhere, and I'm blind, so I shouldn't be seeing anybody's face, but it would disappear. And I thought he was trying to tell me. I even reached out to psychics. He's like, "Why is my dad trying? What's he trying to say?" Yeah, that was a waste of $100, right? They couldn't tell me either. Not anything that made sense to me. So I don't see dead people. I can't talk to the other side. No, I can. I feel connected to where I could understand a message if they wanted me to know it. But I don't. I'm not really always looking for a message. If you ask a question to somebody who's around you and you got earplugs in, how are you going to hear their answer, right? So if you need a message, you got to start looking for it. And I hope that helps because I didn't know this stuff because I wasn't looking for it. You know, that's why I say be careful what you ask for, right? You just might get it, or it might run into you like a freaking Mack truck. And I just uh, I just feel I don't know. I feel like I leveled. Like I said, I feel like I leveled up. Somehow my consciousness or my whatever you want to call it, my spirit inside is uh, is free, free. And I don't have the ego in there. I don't have the survival and the scare and the fear and the you know those things are good for people. The adrenaline. And then people like fear, but people get sucked into it and want to live there and stay. You know, I don't want to be a slave to that. I don't want to be a slave to anything because I'm a slave because I smoke cigarettes. I'm a slave to that, but I allow myself that because I enjoy it. Even though it doesn't smell good, I enjoy it. It helps relax me. And I'd rather smoke a cigarette than take a Valium or some kind of other crap other kind of drug they're trying to push the pharmaceutical companies and to get you hooked on. I'd rather just stick with cigarette. And it's better than the alternative where I could have to go, they call it self-love. That calms me down too, but I don't like that because it supposedly takes away from your sacral chakra. So if you overuse it, but I try to stay healthy. And I know smoking's not healthy, but it's my vice, and I don't feel bad about it. You know, and I might as well enjoy it until they raise the prices to $1 million a carton. Then nobody will smoke. But uh, so one more thing, I think I'll finish with this. Okay. So you say, well, Joe, I don't say we are all slaves right now. I'm not a slave. I'm not a slave. Yeah, you are. You're not only a slave to your own vices, you're a slave to government. And so if you think about it like this, a cow, right? A cow at a farm doesn't know, it's a hostage, you know. and it's probably born on a farm. You live there, knows the farmer. The farmer feeds it, takes care of it, um, helps raise it, and that kind of thing. It's friendly, always smiling, always patting, and that kind of thing, and being friendly. And then, uh, you know, it tries to go on a walk one day and finds out, hey, there's a fence here. I can't go anywhere. And the farmer says, yeah, I put the fence there so you don't leave. But I put it there mostly just to protect you from the predators out there that want to kill you. Yeah, they want to eat you. See that wolf over there? Yeah, he wants to chew your brains out, but he can't get through the fence. So the cow's like, all right, well, I guess I can handle the fence. You got a big property here. So I can roam around this farm, and I'm comfortable here. All right, so, and then one day that cow is killed, chopped up, sent to the butcher shop, put in the freezer, cut up into little pieces, and served to a family at dinner time or in a restaurant. Right? So remember that story. You know, next time you vote, who do you want who do you want to be the farmer? Who do you want to control? Who do you want in charge of controlling you? No, I'm not saying the government's gonna cut you up in little pieces and serve you to other. Yeah, but they kind of do. It's called taxes. Oh, it's tithing. Oh, my bad. Yeah, no, it's enslavement, and then you got to pay your slave masters out of your own pocket with fake money that doesn't mean anything, um, to spend on whatever the hell they want to. That doesn't mean anything. Yeah, so you're a slave. I'm a slave. We're born that way, but I'm not going to die that way. I'm not going to live my life like that anymore either, because I want freedom. Don't you? Or you can be a cattle in defense. See you on the dinner table, my friends. Ha ha.